You okay? What is up, fans? I know we're all feeling down, so thought I'd make you laugh with that intro. You're probably like, that wasn't funny. I'm not okay, and I'm not doing okay, so stop making jokes about it. That's all you can do in this point. We're going to look back at that horrible game yesterday. It was horrible. I don't give a crap what the stats say and what the end score says, and it was just bad. It was bad. Now, there's some stats that we'll go over, some positives. I will talk about some of the post-game presser that they said. And then we'll obviously look at where our playoffs stand. I know. Playoffs. I know. But technically, we are not that far out. Technically, we have not been eliminated. So it is something I will look at, even though if by the faintest of stars falls from the sky and we have that chance to make it to the playoffs, we are one and done in it. Because we either got to go to Buffalo, we either got to go to Pittsburgh or Baltimore. We ain't going to Houston because we're not going to get the 5th seed. But there's something I do want to talk about. And that is, let's see if I'll pop up the right one. Wow. Yesterday, the Dolphins have elected not to activate pass rusher Shaq Barrett off of the reserve/retired list, which means he will not play for Miami this season per source. Miami also not intended to release him and allow him to play for another team in the midst of a playoff push. So they're like, hey, kick rocks, Shaq Barrett. And Chris Kaufman said something very interesting. And I'm going to pop it up. And I kind of want to go over this real quick because this was very interesting. Shaq Barrett signed a contract, suddenly retired on the eve of camp, told Kay Adams Tampa is the only team he'd unretire for. Then with zero communication, he pulled shenanigans try and force Miami to make a snap decision so he can go on a playoff run with the Eagles. If you're attempting to cast Miami's decision to not reactivate him off of the reserve/retire list in bad light, you're biased, plain and simple. Because of his own decisions, the team had 48 hours to determine if he is in game shape or knows the system. He hasn't worked with the team since before camp to determine whether he really wants to play for the team or whether he's just paying lip service to determine if he is worth upwards of $3 million for just 6 games en route to maybe playoff run. To determine the salary implications of reactivating and releasing him, to determine the salary implications of reactivating and keeping him, or to punt the issue to the offseason where a more sane conversation could be had about his potential future with the team he signed a contract to play for. Let's call this what it looks like. You can't believe the player is a great guy. You can believe the player is a great guy and also acknowledge he engaged in some questionable decisions, making that put Miami in an unworkable position. It was preventable. 100%, Chris. Everyone's sitting back looking like, wow, Dolphins are real DBs. And if you don't know what DB is, you're too young. Oh, wow, they're real DBs, not letting him go and go chase another team. And it's a prime example of what he said. It's a snap decision. Are you fit to play with this team? Do you know the system? Okay. Now, what are the implications if you come back and play for us? What is the new cap hit? Also, say we cut you. What is the dead cap? What are we going to have to deal with if you go play for another team? There's so much stuff, and the Dolphins are like, we're trying to figure ourselves out right now. We'll talk about this when the season's over. Plain simple. It's like as a parent, right? You're in the middle of doing something, you're trying to fix something, or you're trying to like tinker with something and it's kind of falling apart. And then your kid comes over and says, I want ice cream. And you're like, all right, give me a second. No, but I want ice cream now. I know, I understand. Give me a second. I want ice cream now. You know what? Now you don't get ice cream. Now you don't get ice cream, and then we'll talk about it tomorrow. Essentially what it is. Plain simple. But yeah, the Dolphins decided, nope, we're not going to activate you. So there's that. Little tidbits of information, some positives to put on this crap Sunday that we had to digest after Thanksgiving dinner. Quarterback Tua Tagovailoa completed 37 of 46, 80% for 360 yards and 2 touchdowns with 0 interceptions and a pass rating of 114.2 yesterday. Again, he didn't play bad, but he didn't play well enough to help in certain situations. Those numbers are fantastic, but a lot of them came in the aspect of the game where it was already out of reach. Tua completed at least 70% of his passes for 6 consecutive games, adding to the longest streak in his career and the longest streak in the NFL. His streak is tied with Detroit quarterback Jared Goff for the longest such streak in the NFL this season. The 365 passing yards are the most in a game since passing for 466 September 8th against the Chargers. It is his 4th career game with 350 passing yards and multiple touchdowns. It is his 3rd in his career that he had record back-to-back games of 300-plus yards. He had 300 last week against the Patriots. I almost said Pittsburgh Steelers. Tua has a 3-game streak with a passer rating of at least 110, tying the longest streak set in 2022. His 108 passer rating is ranked 3rd in the NFL behind Lamar Jackson and Jared Goff. I will say this. The problems with the team right now, the struggles with the team right now are not Tua's fault. Some might want to say it's Tua's fault. Some might want to say that because he needs certain things around him, which I disagree with. I don't think he needs certain things around him. We've seen him succeed and play well, a la the Cardinals game his rookie year and some other games that I can pull out and pinpoint where he played with players that aren't in the NFL anymore. He doesn't need those things around him. It just so happens that Mike McDaniel loves his weapons. So people like to take the fact that Mike McDaniel loves to add these weapons and loves to put these weapons in his scheme that it is needed for Tua. I disagree with that, but everyone has their opinion and everyone has a right to their opinion. But I wouldn't say Tua is the reason why we suck wind, but Tua also isn't kind of elevating the team to where it needs to be, and there are some instances he could play better. He ain't perfect, but he ain't garbage. You know what I'm saying? I'd rank him. If I had to rank Tua right now, where I'd put him in the category of top 32, I'd probably put him around 13 to 11 to 14. Put him in there somewhere. I don't think he's top 10 right now. He's very close. He's very close. And I don't know. Jonnu Smith caught 10 passes for 113 yards, leading the Dolphins in both categories. Smith's 10 receptions for 13 yards were both a career high for a single game. His 10 receptions are tied for most receptions by a Dolphin tight end since 1970. Mike Gesicki, September 26, 2021 versus Las Vegas. Second to that. I was like, what did I just read? His 113 receiving yards pushes him to 3,071 in his career, surpassing 3,000-yard milestone. Good for you, Jonnu. Smith now has 58 catches for 648 yards in the season, both career highs, while his 4 receiving touchdowns ranked him as the second best mark. The Miami tight end ranks atop the league in receiving yards in his second in receptions and touchdowns since week 7. So most receiving yards by tight end since week 7. He is number 1 behind McBride, Bowers, and Kittle, and he has the most touchdowns. But again, that's since week 7. Smith ranks 3rd among tight ends in receiving yards, 4th in receptions, and tied for 5th in receiving touchdowns in 2024. I have no qualms about Jonnu Smith. I think he's fantastic. Smith is on pace to have the best season by a Dolphin tight end, ranking 1st in receptions, receiving yards, and tied for 1st in touchdowns in the team's first 12 games of the season. Good for him. Most receiving yards by a Dolphin tight end through 12 games. He's surpassed Randy McMichael. Whoever made this is kind of messed up because they have Jonnu Smith 2024 and they have Randy McMichael 2004, both 2004. It's 2024. off a little bit there. Achane surpasses 1,000 yards from scrimmage. Good for him. Most receiving yards by a running back. He is second to Alvin Kamara with 429, but he also has 6 touchdowns, which I think is number 1. Achane is the only player in the NFL this season to lead the team in receiving yards and touchdowns. Most tackles in the first 75 games among active players. Jordan Brooks is number 4, behind Bobby Wagner, Roquan Smith, and Levante David. Little tidbits of information. Patrick McMorris actually played in the game yesterday. Quentin Bell made his first career start. Long snapper Zach Trinner made his Dolphin debut. Jordan Brooks appeared in his 75th career game. Liam Eichenberg made his 50th career start and did not do well. Terrell Dodson made his first start with the Dolphins. Benito Jones, his 25th career start. And Robert Jones, his 25th career start. A little cherry on that Sunday. Had some good news there. Jordan Brooks, after the game, says the team was soft tonight. Brooks believes the team allowed the cold to be a factor. He says they allowed elements to be a factor. Yeah. It sucks. And I'll say this. It really sucks when you sit there and you're like, you hear the team and you hear the players, talk about like, oh, we're not going to let it do this. And we hear this and we hear that we're soft and F that and this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, yeah, show them. And you kind of get your hopes up a little bit, even though I expected a loss, but not this bad. I expected the offense to do more than it did, especially with them not having their starting corner in. And I'm like, yeah. Then they come out and they do that. And you're like, you're soft. You are soft. You got destroyed at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Wait till we look at the film breakdown. And I suggest you watch it. Because I know, like, after a loss, people are like, I ain't watching that crap. I suggest you watch it because they get blown off the line of scrimmage. Absolutely blown off the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Soft. And they're missing tackles left and right. 20 missed tackles. Altogether, 20 missed tackles. That's ridiculous. Cam Smith dislocated his shoulder versus Green Bay Packers per Mike McDaniel. His shoulder, I think it came out. He was in a good amount of pain. Dolphins are going to probably need another corner. Well, Kendall Fuller will probably be back for the Jets game, but still. We got to believe that our efforts will matter this is from Calais Campbell, if we do what we're supposed to do. I think it gives us a shot. I've seen some crazy things happen. He doesn't think the season's over. The players don't think the season's over, but Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel, on declining to activate Shaq Barrett from the reserve retired list, said the timing wasn't ideal. He and the team wanted to go forward with deserving players already on the roster. A little bitter. You could tell they were a little bitter, the fact of what he did and when he did it. Now, again, he has every right to. He had stuff going on at home. Whatever his situation was, no one's knocking him for that, but they're a little bitter. Because they're like, we're focusing on who's here and who's playing. So it's like, ooh, it's a little bitter. Mike McDaniel also said, it gets really, really frustrating when you know you're capable of winning a game and you can point to yourself as to why you lost it. There's too many times this season I've heard that, if not from McDaniel, but from Tua and this and that. It gets to the point where I don't care anymore. Fix it. And I've made videos saying, fix it. The Dolphins coach McDaniel said on his 4th and goal at the one play call is one he would like to have back. Again, another quote that and we'll look at that play, because at first I said you can't take a sack there, and I was a little frustrated with Tua. You watch that play back, no one was open. You had Ingold falling, you had 2 guys covered, and you had just straight pressure. No one was open. The only thing he could do is either just chuck it and pray for something or take a sack, and he took the sack. It's just it's the PR redundant quotes, and nothing gets changed. Nothing gets changed. And it's really sad. But yeah, so we're at the point now, and I'll pull it up and we'll look at it. Sorry, I keep clearing my throat. We'll look at it if you care. But this is where the Dolphins sit right now after that loss, right? We are down a spot. So the Indianapolis Colts moved up because right now we're tied and they have the tiebreaker over us because they beat us. And when it comes to the draft order, we moved up. I think we were 14th. We moved up to the 12th pick. So I will show you a few things real quick. So this is the way I see the rest of the schedule going through. And I'll make another video probably Sunday night or maybe Monday. I think the Chiefs will beat the Raiders. That would shock me. I think Seattle will beat the Jets. Could go either way. I think Chargers beat the Falcons. I think Houston beats Jacksonville. I think Minnesota beats Arizona. Indy, we would need the Patriots to win this game, which isn't out of the realm of possibility. But as of right now, I'm going to say Indy, and I'll show you how it goes the other way around. Because then again, we just stay there, but I'll keep going. I think Pittsburgh beats Cincy. I think Washington beats Tennessee. This goes to that. These don't matter. I think this goes to that. I think Baltimore beats the Eagles. They're going to destroy them, and I think this happens. So at the end of the day, nothing changes. We still went down a spot. But if the Patriots win, well, we're right back there, but then we're down by 3 games. 3 games with 6 to go. 5 to go. It's like 6 to go. 5 to go. And we would need a complete collapse between one of these two teams. And we would need to win the rest of the games. Are they going to? No. I have no faith that the Dolphins will win the rest of the games. So let's say that the Dolphins will really quick. I'm going to make it real quick. I'm just going to pick games. I think this will happen. Say the Dolphins lose the rest of the games. I say this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens, even though it went the other way last time, but I think since they're home, it won't. This happens. I go with this one. I think Arizona. I think Buffalo. I think San Fran. I think Kansas City. I think this one. Okay. I'll make it real. I'm going to do real quick. I think they get a little bit healthier. They get a little bit better. Zoom. I'm having Dolphins lose them all. They'll win this one. Take this one. Take this one. I'll take this one. I take this one. I'll take this one. Boom. I think that will happen. This could go this way. I'll go with that. And then I'll switch it back. Again, I'm trying to do this really quick. I think Eagles, Green Bay, Minnesota, Atlanta, go to 16. Interesting. I'm going with this one. Boom. Yes. Mm-hmm. I think I'm probably just going to edit this out. Unless I don't. If I don't edit this out, you can hear me being a silly bastard. Draft order, we would be picking 9th. I did all of that just to show we'd move up for. So if we lose the rest of the game, and then like a lot of teams that lose will probably lose, the best we could do is pick 9th. 9th. And if we run the simulator, I really doubt that we'll even make the playoffs running the simulator. Because I could already see they picked us losing because we just lost this game. So where do we end up? 6-11. We won 1 extra game. What was the 1 game we won? See, they even have us. We beat the Jets. That's it. We won 1 game. Draft order, we're picking 8. Fantastic. Standing, we're not just fantastic. But your playoff is looking like that. Oh, they're going to move up to the 5th seed. Overall, you screwed yourselves. By not taking care of business here, by not doing this seriously, by not being more prepared, you screwed yourselves. So now we have to sit here and hope that this happens. These don't matter. Hope that this happens. Hope that this happens. Hope that this happens. This would help us somewhat. And then we would be sitting here and we'd be still 2 games out. So if they lose, if Denver and the Chargers and Baltimore and Houston all lose, so all the teams that kind of screwed us and Indy, they all lose. Everyone that's we're competing with all lose, then the loss to Green Bay means nothing, especially because it's non-conference. It's NFC. So if that happens, if magically all the teams that we're competing with to get in the playoffs lose, this game means nothing. Start at square one, keep it moving. Will it happen? No. Denver will beat Cleveland. The Chargers will beat the Falcons. I think the Colts will beat the Patriots. And I really doubt that Jacksonville will beat Houston. Was that the... Oh, no. The Eagles and Baltimore can be a thing. Comment below. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you tomorrow. Probably do a film breakdown. And then I'll see you Sunday recapping. Like usual, stay classy. Evans up.